some of the highlights. What is the mission? The mission of the university is given in the hard copy that I have for you. It is to transform, not transmit only. It is to transform lives and serve society by providing affordable and accessible education through technologically supported distance education to disseminate and to discover useful knowledge, develop professional skills, ethical dispositions, and commitment to excellence. Each one of these words has been very carefully selected because this is the mission of the university. It's not to be a diploma mill. It's not to give only pieces of paper to people to go and cash. This is a place to transform lives through refining talent at the best possible level. Before we created this university, we had the old Oxbridge tradition of universities, like Oxford and Cambridge. Elitist, relatively few, one-to-one tutorial. There are some good points in that, but the difficulty is that they don't produce enough of people that we need. And therefore, we created this university so that we could take education to the doorsteps of the people living in remote, distant places. This was the first idea. Second idea behind this university was to not only make knowledge and take it to the distant places, but the second idea was to enable working people, in addition to their work, to refine their talents and their abilities and achieve higher potential for their work and for their community. The third basic objective that we had was to undertake research so that we could create a new kind of higher education. Not available to more, not available to working people, not available to distant places, but also a different kind of education. Now that different kind of education meant that the university will provide opportunities of relevant education, whether it is related to producing lady health workers for rural areas. This is not what traditional universities would do. Lady health workers for rural areas, so that the infant mortality rate could be brought down, so that the prenatal and postnatal services could be provided to expecting mothers who were basically left out of the system. That's relevance, and that's one example of the innovative educational program that the university developed. Now, while we were doing all of these things, we also recognized that one of the key elements that has to be taken care of is to establish a university with its own charter, with its own officers, with its own faculty, and with its own infrastructure. Now, this is something that is very important. I'll skip some of the things that we have here and go on. Organization. I heard last night the difficulties that you had in establishing your first open university. Part of the difficulties were that we never gave it a serious thought to create an alternative higher educational organization. And this organization is necessary. What is the administrative structure? Administrative structure of this university is to have a vice-chancellor who is the president, vice-chancellor's staff, and then have to have the necessary policy-making structures. Policy-making structures, A university has to have its own registrar. A university has to have its own facilities. A university has to have, particularly a distance learning university, has to have opportunities to produce instructional materials. Now, the next slide that I'm going to be sharing with you this university started with one faculty department, today has 4 faculties of the traditional kind, 35 academic departments with about 2,000 faculty whose sole purpose is to develop current, up-to-date instructional materials. They don't meet with undergraduate students. They meet with the postgraduate students on a regular basis who are doing research under their supervision, but the faculty responsibility is to develop quality materials. We instituted a policy whereby no course will stay on the books for more than 2 years. 18-month cycle of revision of courses. And this 18-month cycle is given to the faculty in all the 35 departments, and the deans are responsible for making sure that our instructional materials are current and up to date. Now, having done that, we also recognize that this is the National Open University. 36 campuses all over the country. And each one of those campuses is supervised and administered by the Vice Chancellor and the staff at Islamabad. These are campuses close to where the students are. But most of the academic work, development of materials, is done at the central location. Admissions. We started in 1974 with 300 students. Today, we have 1.8 million students. That's why I call it weapon of mass instruction. And at the current rate of around 7% increase in our enrollment, by 2015, we shall be the largest mega university in the world. Now, admission is open to all males and females anywhere in the country. No age restriction. And this is the basic idea of an open university. Open to all, open to people who are interested and motivated to improve their talents and their abilities, and then open to all kinds of ideas and all innovations. What is relevant today needs to be brought into the university structure. So admission is done twice a year, 2 semesters, and we admit every semester somewhere around 800,000 to 900,000 students. Now, this is mind-boggling. How do you administer it? How do you make sure that each one of those students gets the instructional material on time and then does what he or she has to do on time? And by the end of the semester, they have to be given their grades and their transcripts on time. This demands a significant infrastructure, and that significant infrastructure is designed primarily to get the perception out of the minds of people that this is a lesser kind of education or inferior kind of education. Instructional media. What kind of instructional media that we have? We started out on the pattern of Open University UK as a correspondence university. Then, more recently, we are increasingly relying upon the new tools of instructional delivery, whether it's internet, or it is FM radio,